Yo, 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 it's your girl and boy CT. I'm Cindy Barnes.
And I'm Travis Barnes.
And we are the founders of the Overcomers Podcast.
Sponsored by Journey 333. That is a place of mind, body, spirit that helps you with fitness, coaching, and nutrition to look better, live better, and feel better. We produce these episodes every week for your enjoyment to help people to overcome adversity and live their dreams. All right, Overcomer Nation, welcome to another episode of the Overcomers Podcast, sponsored by Journey 333. Now, that's a place of fitness, coaching, and nutrition, mind, body, spirit, where we help you to look better, live better, and feel better. Today, I have with me guest Sylvia Hall. She is the co-founder of Lifted Naturals. I like to say once a coach, always a coach. Sylvia and I were talking off the air about that. So she also has a history as a life coach. So she can definitely help you get your minds right today, you know, as we tell about her story and what it's taken to build the amazing company that she's built, what she's overcome. Sylvia, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to share a bit about Lifted and share about that overnight success that only took me 10 years of entrepreneurial failure.
Yeah, overnight success taking a especially long time. I think that's like Steve Jobs who said that. So one of the many who said that, right? Yeah. Well, let's kind of follow your story a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into Lifted Naturals? Like, you know, where were you at the time? Maybe, you know, what were you struggling with? And you know, why did this speak to you? And tell us a little bit about the journey. And then we want to hear about what Lifted Naturals is doing for people today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was always entrepreneurial, but once I had my kids, I knew for sure that I wanted to be home with them and also not just be home with them, but build something. And so it actually started off as a handmade jewelry business that I was making in my basement whenever I was pregnant. And that kind of evolved to, okay, I'm really social. So I really would like to connect more deeply with people. And I kind of started going down the life coach route. But it was after our second child that I started to really just struggle and not feel like myself. A lot of irritability, a lot of pent up emotions that really came out through motherhood. And I realized I was not being the kind of mom I wanted to be. I didn't feel good in my body. It was just a really rough time for me. And so I started to look for natural solutions during that time, because even though I was already studying mindset, I felt like energetically something was just not, I didn't feel like myself. And so that led me down the rabbit hole that I call the gut-brain connection, which is that if you're dealing with any sort of digestive struggles and you're dealing with mood issues, they are not two very separate things, but instead they're very related. And so I was chronically constipated and just felt bloated and uncomfortable in my body and also uncomfortable with my emotional stance. And so that gut-brain connection research really did change everything for me in a way that I felt like this is what the world needs more of. They need to know about the gut-brain connection and about the power of probiotics for mood and digestion.
Wow, that is really important, because quite often I think that when people think about mood, they think, okay, so I need a better night's sleep, or I need more serotonin, or I need more dopamine, or just different things that, you know, maybe we've heard some of those buzzwords. And we often just kind of go to the brain, right? You know, as opposed to going to the gut to affect what's going on in the brain.
Right. So, because over 70, 80, some even say more than that % of serotonin is made in the gut and not in the brain.
Wow. That's yes. Great. Over 70%.
Yes. And more than, I think even more than that, but there's different numbers and figures. And what's really cool too, is it's not just serotonin, right? Like you said, there's dopamine, GABA, all those things. And those are supported by and made in the gut. And so rather than putting those things into your body, not knowing how much you need or how to increase those, really, if you go to the source and heal where those things are made, then you can naturally increase your body's flow, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, some people are probably listening to this right now thinking, you know, do I need probiotics? Do I need prebiotics? You know, I heard it said, and you are more the authority on this than I am. So, but if you know, we abuse antibiotics, right? We get a sniffle and we're like, oh, you know, I just need to get an antibiotic from my doctor, and that's not really what it's meant for. But I heard that taking antibiotics is like a nuclear bomb going off in your gut, like that it just kills so many things that you need, like probiotics and prebiotics, which is why you should only take antibiotics when you need them. But also why we need probiotics and prebiotics, because that gut health that you're talking about that affects your mood and affects so much of your life may not be so healthy, may not be having the impact that we want it to have, right? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. It's not just the times we consume antibiotics. Unfortunately, it's like all around us in our food. And so even if you're someone who said, no, I've completely avoided antibiotics, then I would still say it's possible a probiotic could still really help you with that mood, digestion, balance. Beyond that, I will say that when I continued my research on the gut-brain connection, I put together, it took me like several years, that after the birth of my second child, I was put on an antibiotic drip during my delivery. Mm-hmm. It wasn't told to me like, hey, you need to replenish that good bacteria. We're wiping it all out, because you're exactly right. That's what an antibiotic does. It doesn't just come in and say, oh, that's a bad guy. That's a bad guy. Oh, that's a good guy. We'll leave it alone. Mm-hmm. When it comes to bacteria, it does not discriminate. It's like, you're out of here. And so that's why a big part of the lifted branding and marketing that I do is say, when 100% medically necessary, yes, take an antibiotic. We're not here to say don't do that, but just keep in mind that you do need to then replenish that good bacteria because it's been wiped out.
Yeah, that's so important. A lot of times I think also people go to certain hormone production, like they say, oh, I don't feel like myself. Maybe my testosterone is getting lower because I'm a man, or maybe my moods are off because I'm going through a transition in life, as a female. How much of an impact would you say that the gut health, for people that are maybe kind of along that line of thinking, like, I could have more drive, or I could have more energy, or maybe I'd be kinder to my husband, it was just a hormonal thing. How often have you seen, instead, probiotics, prebiotics being an answer to that?
Well, it's really what goes in must come out. So healthy elimination, it's the sexiest topic.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Healthy elimination is so important, that if you're not, able to eliminate, it's not just going to the bathroom, but it's the toxins and everything. It's a regular elimination that smoothing out your digestion can help with. So you're right. It's not just, okay, we help with mood. Although the reason ours are mood probiotics, just real quick, is because of the specific types of bacterial strains that we chose. Those are tied to help with mood. However, that doesn't make it any less potent for digestion. I kind of like to clear that up. We do have people coming to us saying, hey, you thinking about coming out with a probiotic for metabolism or weight management or drive or any of those things you said? And I do have to say, currently, we are very much trying to stay laser focused on the mood crowd, because as a really small business, when you spread, you splatter. And so instead of trying to do several things kind of well, we're going to really commit, especially in 2022, buckling down to saying, we are Lifted Naturals. We are the mood probiotic people. And so it's about those specific types of good bacteria that help with those things. So when it comes to other areas, I do think this industry is going to blossom, and you will be able to potentially find a brand that has probiotics specifically for endurance or any of those things, because the specific types of bacteria really do different things. And so that's maybe a little bit of the background on how that works.
Wow, there's such a world of information about bacteria that I'm unaware of. So I guess this is a great time for us, because I can't wait for you to share some of your story too, because you are such an overcomer, and you've overcome so much with postpartum depression and also, your thyroid and just different things. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But while we're on this topic, let's talk about your products, because I know there's people out there and like, oh, probiotics or prebiotics, I know what that is. I'll have some yogurt or whatever, right? So what makes your products different? Tell us a little bit about like the products that there are out there that you could choose. Okay, hey, I want to affect my mood. I know I'm trying to affect my mood every day. I'm like, okay, I'll start with gratitude. I'll try to end my day with something positive. Like if I can enhance it in any way I want to. So tell us about the products that are out there that are probiotics and prebiotics, and then tell us, how your product is kind of niching down in that mood market and what makes it different,
Sure. So I like your question, or the statement about the yogurt. I just like to clarify that another really top tip that we give, in addition to like avoid antibiotics unless 100% medically necessary. And then tip number 2 that I talk about all the time is to slowly and lovingly reduce your processed sugar intake, because sugar does feed the bad bacteria. So while prebiotics are fiber that feed the good bacteria and probiotics themselves are the good bacteria, sugar kind of is coming in there and doing some kind of dirty work that kind of proliferates the not so good guys. So when someone says, I'm going to just eat my yogurt, okay, that's maybe not such a bad idea, but I don't know if it's going to give you enough of a boost because of what the sugar is then doing too. Okay. So to me, they kind of block each other out.
So you're better going after the probiotics or prebiotics in their more pure form.
Unless, of course, you absolutely love yogurt. I'm a big believer in the idea that life is meant to be enjoyed, and that when we restrict entirely things that we love, that's not the way to create a lifted, abundant life. You know, that's a big part of our whole messaging, is to feel good and to enjoy life. So if you love yogurt, please enjoy your yogurt.
Well, we are in agreement on that. I just had a client today that I was talking with, and she said, I need to eat more carbs. And I said, that's fine. I said, the only diet that works is the one that you'll stick to. I said, but let's talk about what good carbs are. And so, we talked about fruits and we talked about vegetables, and then we got on the topic of yogurt. And I said, hey, I would really prefer that you flavor your own yogurt versus buying a flavored yogurt. Because just for the listeners out there, I just want to make everybody aware, typically when you buy a flavored yogurt, just like Sylvia was talking about, you get like an extra 30 grams of sugar and nothing natural about your flavoring. It's just some kind of syrupy thing made to taste like a strawberry, for example, and it's not, right? So I like where you're going with the sugar, because I encourage the client today to just, flavor your own stuff. But let's talk about, the products that are out there and your product and how it affects the mood, how it's more focused on that.
Yes. So next up, I like to go to the other ingredients section of a supplement bottle. A lot of companies are adding, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know what all they're adding at the bottom there. A lot of extra ingredients, which are not what I consider health ingredients. It's kind of like the strawberry and the yogurt. There's all different types of adders and fillers so that the products themselves are cohesive every time. Whereas our probiotics will occasionally be a little bit lighter yellow or a little bit like tan. And that is because I have committed to no added fillers. And so for our 4 mood probiotics, we have 2 that are probiotic only and 2 that are probiotics and prebiotics. But for all 4 of those, they have no added ingredients. It's just the probiotics. So you can open the capsule, pour some into a smoothie or drink if you're not really a capsule consumer. Some people don't like swallowing capsules. And so the first thing I like to point out is that they're good, clean products, because when I'm buying supplements, and even friends come to me and they're like, I need this supplement, which one do you suggest? They know I'm going to look at the back. I'm going to compare what extra things they're adding. So that's just one simple thing. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, it's about our high quality manufacturer that we use. So a lot of people say, okay, Sylv, you're sharing all this, you're very passionate, but are you a chemist? Are you a biologist? Like, what makes you qualified? And I like to say, as the ultimate entrepreneur, I hired all that out.
Right. Do what you do best, hire the rest, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So what I did best was being a mom who said, enough, I deserve to feel better. I'm going to be my own advocate. I'm going to find a way to feel better naturally that doesn't cause me a bunch of side effects that makes me feel even ickier than when I began. So that's what I did best. And then our manufacturer, the partnership that I have found, in the beginning, when I even got the mood probiotic idea, it was all about finding the right partner to delegate. We have a manufacturer that's good manufacturing practices certified. It has all of these top certifications. They go through a rigorous process of quarantining the raw ingredients, testing them before they use them. Just absolutely the highest standard, because I take these products myself, our entire family takes them. And this isn't just about how cheap can you make it, how fast can you get it out. This is about truly high quality products that work.
I like your choice to quarterback your own health. There was a friend of mine, Todd Durkin, that used that term, and it's always stuck with me. I personally have, I don't know if I've ever talked about it on this show, but I have a blood disease called hemochromatosis, and it's where my body wants to keep all the iron. And so what happens for me is I will go to the doctor and they say, oh, your iron's creeping up, we'll take another pint of blood or whatever. And so that kind of helps you to reduce your iron. But, for me, that's not enough. It's not enough. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to see a naturopath as well. And they're going to look at my hormones and they're going to, tell me, what else is out of whack and what I can do about it. So you said, I deserve to feel better and I'm going to do something about it. Right. And, that's where I can relate, because I'm like, well, wait a second. It's not enough for me to, I just show up and you say I got too much iron. You just take a pint of blood. Isn't there like some other things that we can do here, and, I sure don't feel like myself if you're taking a pint of blood every week, right? Which happened to me for about 4 or 5 months. So where were you at this point in time in your life where you said, I'm going to do something about the way that I feel? I deserve to feel better. Can you kind of, take us there a little bit and just, kind of, because usually there's a struggle that leads to a strength, right?
Yeah.
So now you're impacting other people's health because you were struggling with something at a time that you wanted to do something about,
Yeah. Well, fortunately for me, I don't just have one, but I have 2 dark night of the soul stories.
Okay. All right.
So we're going juicy now, right?
Okay. Let's go. Let's go.
So after I had my second child, I talked about not feeling well at all and trying to just figure out how to rebalance that. And, I kind of thought I learned my lesson from that as far as being my own advocate, but some lessons really have to be learned like the real hard way. And it was, I think maybe 4 years after that I had some nodules on my thyroid that I was like, okay, I need to get this checked out. They're getting bigger. It was kind of getting hard to sleep. And I went to the doctor and they said, we need to do a biopsy. They called me after that and said, hey, you have cancer. They said, you have thyroid cancer. You need to have it removed. And I was like, okay, so you need to have it removed. That's what the doctor said on the phone. And so I had my thyroid removed. And then there's of course a lot of mental anguish over this, panic attacks and stressful, like I said, dark nights of the soul of like, what is going on with my health? A mistrust of my body that has taken years to recover from. And then this is the really unique plot twist is I come home from the surgery. I get a call from the surgeon, a very nice guy who says, great news, Sylvia. We were able to do the, dissect the thyroid. Sorry, if that's too much for you.
No, that's great.
It wasn't cancer.
Oh.
It wasn't cancer.
No. So you had a thyroid removed that didn't have to be removed because it wasn't cancer.
And here we are. And here we are. So then there was this bodily mistrust that transformed into a medical mistrust.
Sure.
That I was just kind of trying to figure out how to bounce back from, because it was like a PTSD experience of who do I trust and why me, and how many times is it going to take me to learn this lesson of being my own advocate. And that actually, unfortunately, it's not the only struggle about the thyroid. I want to share a little bit more about something I've been going through, which is that when I went through that process, I did a lot of serious research, just like I did with mood probiotics and the gut-brain connection. And I found that most people feel their best when they take a natural desiccated thyroid hormone rather than the synthetic versions. Well, okay, great. There's a way that people are feeling better, not worse. And, I'm going to do that. But when you go to any traditional doctor, they don't want to prescribe you an NDT. NDTs like Armor, Nature-Throid, NP Thyroid, there's a bunch of them on the market, but they have over the years had trouble with manufacturing of them. I don't know why they struggle so much to keep the product. So that's why a lot of doctors are like, no, we're not going to do that. Because sometimes they get recalled for lower potency because it's from pig thyroid. So that's what an NDT is. It's from a porcine, like pig thyroid. So the really frustrating thing for me was and continues to be just finding a doctor that's willing to prescribe that medicine, which I've taken the whole time and that I will continue to take, because that is what I've seen is how people feel their best after having their gland removed.
Well, everybody knows and loves my co-founder of Journey and my co-host, Cindy. And Cindy just recently went through thyroid surgery. She had a thyroidectomy. We had found out, we had that horrible call that said that you have cancer. And well, that was an emotional day in our house. It still makes me emotional to think about it. She was crying and I said, hey, what's going on? And she said, well, they just left a voicemail, right? And said that I have cancer. And I was like, whoa. And I said, they left that on a voicemail? That's crazy, right? And so we tried to call back, but the doctor's busy. And so I said, get in the car, and so we went down there and I said, yeah, we're here to see the doctor. I won't say his name right now, but we're here to see the doctor. And they said, oh, well, he's with patients. Do you have an appointment? I said, no, we don't. But does he come out that door right there? I said, because we'll be sitting here until we can talk to him. And so we went through the process, and we're very new in this process. Cindy did get confirmed that she had cancer. They said it was contained within the capsule. But now we're on this new journey where she is now shifted into an earlier menopause than she probably would have had otherwise. She's had all these hot flashes. She's taking a synthetic thyroid. I'm not even aware that there is a natural form of this. So I share these parallel stories with you, because this is very beneficial information that people should tune in about. Like, this was never discussed with us, that there was an array of options. You just hear that you're supposed to take, I believe the pill's name is Synthroid. And so we just take a Synthroid pill. I say I remind her to take it. I don't take it. I have my thyroid, but so
some people will feel okay on it. And many people find that the NDT, natural desiccated thyroid hormone, just suits their body better. And I have to be honest with you, I don't even love sharing that story because it's just this heavy, you can almost sense my bitterness. And I really do believe in being better and not bitter. And this lesson has brought me so many opportunities for growth and connection. I really just could share other dark stories without that one, but I do feel like people don't know this. And so I'm like, get out of your own way, share it. It can help somebody. But once you start going down that rabbit hole of NDT, natural desiccated thyroid, which one do people feel better on? A lot of times it'll be that. And other times people will sometimes combine Synthroid with an active T3. That's another option. There's a lot of options, but you have to be your own advocate, and you have to be willing to stand up to some people or doctors who are not going to be willing to.
Yeah, quarterback your own health. And Sylvia, thank you for sharing that, because not only is it beneficial to people like my wife, but I can't tell you how many people came up to my wife after us being public with what was going on and saying, oh, I've been, I have nodules. Should I get tested? Or just different things, because people need this kind of information. We often find out that when we share things that were tough for us to go through, that it's benefiting someone else. So thank you for sharing that. You said you had a couple of dark nights of the soul. I don't want to leave our audience hanging, like what else has this lady been through,
Well, for me, it really was so much about after having my second child and not, it was just obsessive worry and thoughts that I just couldn't show up as a mom. Like that was literally one of the worst, like this nightmare of wanting to be this good mom and not being able to do it. And I feel like that struggle, that adversity of not being able to be who I wanted to be was among the worst of it. And then for the second one, it was the thyroid medical trauma and mistrust, which has continued to be something that I'm healing from, not just my thyroid. That's fine, generally speaking. It's more just that trauma of who to trust, because I do believe once we live our life as if it's a dangerous world, it changes everything, right? It's one of those core foundational beliefs, like the roots of a tree, that when you see the world in one way, it changes everything. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely believe in a friendly universe, and I want to, and I continue to get back to believing that. So those are the two main, whoa, who am I? What am I doing here? How can I overcome this?
Yeah. So as I was reading about you, you were battling, with this, this type of mental anguish, if we could, say, even like, it's mental health related, right? We talked about it on the beginning of the show, mind, body, spirit, get your mind right. You're trying to get your mind right. Well, you're spending 3 years building a company that you've grown to over $1 million in revenue. What was that like? Because I'll tell you, a lot of reasons I'm trying to optimize my health is, I have a franchise. I'm trying to fire on all cylinders every day, so it's important. So can you share with us a little bit about that journey?
Absolutely. I think that when you have a goal that's bigger than yourself and it's about service, the uncomfortable things that are required to grow it just kind of melt away. Whether that's a Facebook Live, doing interviews on a podcast, whatever it is that feels uncomfortable, those things melt away when you have a vision that's bigger than yourself. So it's not about me, it's about who can I serve. And for Lifted, it was very much about knowing that we have a solution that someone is literally in their bed at night praying for. And I connect to that person each day. I try to connect to that person who's like, what is going on? How can I feel better? On the one level, it's absolutely the customers that I want to connect with and help. And on the other side of it was a vision I had for my husband being able to quit his job to be home with us. So like it was very much greater than myself on both ends of the spectrum. But as I said, Lifted is this overnight success that only took 10 years of entrepreneurial failure. I was a stay-at-home mom who was building various businesses. It was jewelry, handmade. I ended up selling over 1,000 items on Etsy, by the way. I sold in 7 shops around the Kansas City area, went to different boutiques and dropped off my goods, picked up a check, figured out a way because I had these little babies at this time.
Right. Okay.
That kind of evolved into the coaching of like, I want to connect more deeply with people. And then I'd love to share this story because maybe someone can benefit from it too. But with the coaching, I was starting to grow the practice, get more clients. And I felt this energy of, oh, they want to work with me. Like that's going to be, how do I block off that time? The kids are only at Parents' Day Out this long. I literally had the gas and the brakes on at the same time for that business because I wanted to make more money and help more people and connect with people. But I didn't want to commit myself, be strapped down and have all this commitment that I'm a kind of free bird, free spirit, didn't really want to feel super tied down. And so that energetic gas and brake at the same time for that business was totally what slowed the business. And that's when I began to think, I want something that I want the gas only. I can let my foot off the brake and just go knowing that it's going to work. And so I built Lifted with this one question in mind, which is it scalable? So I would make a decision and then it would have to run through that filter. Is this scalable? And everything we did was through that filter because I knew I wanted time freedom. I wanted to be a good mom. I wanted to be able to pursue my creative projects. I always have several creative projects just kind of going to keep me fueled and inspired and lit up. And so for me, that was the way forward with a business, because before I was self-employed and I didn't really realize the difference.
Yeah.
I thought, no, I'm a business owner, but really I only made money when I was working. So I wasn't a business owner. I was self-employed.
You're speaking my language. I am a big personal development person. I love business books, and Scalable reminds me of Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, Scaling Up. That's a good book. E-Myth was the book that pointed out to me whether I had a job or a business, right? If it takes you putting in hours in exchange for dollars, then, that's what people do for a job. When it comes to a business, it's still supposed to make money when you're not there. So if you could, just for the listeners, we have some entrepreneurs on here. We have some fitness enthusiasts, just different folks. What do you mean by you tested it and you said, is it scalable? Yeah. What does it mean to be scalable?
Well, before with the jewelry business per se, I was having to run my wares here and there. And if a little shop wanted to carry it, I would. But now within Lifted's business model, we are an e-commerce business, which means you can buy from us on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or directly from our website. shop.liftednaturals.com. And that means that I can continue to sell while I sleep, while I go to my child's soccer game, while I take my kid to the skate park, that's going to keep growing. And so then when opportunities come my way, because they will when you begin to grow, I have to ask myself, is this scalable? So, hey, we'd love to sell your stuff in our little chiropractic office. I can't do that just yet, not with the team I have and not with the way our business is set up. There's more scalable ways for me to use my time and energy to grow Lifted that are not going to involve me doing small orders here and there. So it's just all about the scalability of each decision, whether or not I do it.
Wow, that's great. It's great to have a good litmus test for, what you'll do and what you won't do. I know that the most successful people, whether you're reading quotes by Richard Branson or Steve Jobs or whomever it might be, are going to say that it's the things that they said no to more so that made them successful than the things that they said yes to, because you can involve yourself in a lot of overwhelm without a lot of traction if you're saying yes to everything. So really good. And I really like what you shared too, that your driving force to build such a great business. You said 10 years of entrepreneurial failure, and you've been at this for 3 going on 4 years, and grown into over $1 million in revenue, which says a lot about the products that you're selling, says a lot about your drive. And you dug deep into your why. You dug deep into your why. Now, who am I going to do this for? I'm going to do it for my family. I'm going to retire my husband. Who am I going to do this for? I want other people to have the benefits that I'm enjoying, overcoming, just things you were struggling with, your mood during postpartum, right? Just different things you were struggling with that you wanted to address. So having a deep why, I know it helps get me up at 2:45 a.m. to train some clients is, right. Yeah. Crazy, right? We have sessions that start at 4. So if I want to have some eggs and bacon, I got to get up early. But, anyway, it seems like some advice that you're giving to people that are like, I love this lady, she's inspiring me. I want to serve the world in a big way. And I'd like to accomplish some things. It seems like you're saying, dig deep into that why, and then have a way to test the opportunities that come to you.
Yeah.
Because we know that our struggles are a test, but how many people that are listening right now know that your opportunities are a test? Right? I mean, they are, right? You have to have a way to measure them, and you're measuring them through scalability because you are a mom that wants to be at your children's events, right? That's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like too, there's been this really big shift within how I look at money. And I feel like we all, whether we love the topic or hate it, money is, I consider it an energy. Mm-hmm. And I also consider probiotics energy. So I feel like everything is energy. Our mindset is energy. So someone says to me, Sylvia, you're so passionate about meditation, mindset, elevating your mood. Why are you selling a product? But it's a product that's energy. And so I just feel like when we begin to see the world that everything is energy, we can begin to be more clear about what kind of energy we want to be around. And so often we stay stuck in what I don't want. It's the don't want pandemic. I don't want this. I don't want that. And our brain is wired to look for problems. And so if you do not bring awareness to that, you will stay stuck in that default mode of looking for problems. But instead, I invite you to, we have a Lifted Life podcast, by the way. It's a weekly show that we show up and share insights. Usually it's just what my husband and I have been going through over the last week together, because being in business now, he's been retired from his job for 2 years now. Okay. That was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that is awesome.
He was the breadwinner for however many years before that, providing for our family in a really great way, allowing me the opportunity to stay home with my kids and grow those ideas. I love to share too, that they were often seen as little ideas by people, like, oh, how's your little business going? And how's your, yeah. And so to have this like, oh yeah, well, Tim was able to quit his job as an engineer,
right.
Like, oh, that little business, eh?
Yeah. So that little business is turning into something big. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So just shifting that energy towards what you want more of. And it's about the becoming, I think, too, because I will say after he was able to quit his job, we both kind of were like, now what? Like we were really laser focused on that goal of who we had to become to achieve it. And so we continue to create new aspirations. We call them avatars for ourselves of who we become to reach the next level. And yet all the while not trying to take for granted or normalize too much what we've created, to still have a level of appreciation for it rather than, grow, business grow. You start screaming at a baby to grow, it doesn't want to grow. You have to be tender with it, and you have to give it time, and you have to evolve with the market. I just want to say too, if we wouldn't have gotten in 4 years ago when we did, and instead my idea came to me now as a nudge and I tried to pursue it, I don't know. It's a totally different market. Just like Facebook ads, we used to be able to get a pretty good turnaround on things. Mm-hmm. Oh, those big guys came in and, drove all of everything up for everyone. And so just another, lesson in all of this is like to follow the nudge when it comes. It's not random. It's truly pushing you and pulling you into that direction of what you're meant to do. And so I really am very pleased that I followed that nudge 4 or so years ago when I said, hey, what do you think about a mood probiotic formula? Because kind of to take it back after I was struggling, trying to find a way out to feel better naturally, I started buying all these different probiotics, sprinkling them on like some sort of drug lord, probiotic drug lord. Sprinkling, I got the prebiotics separate and the probiotics, and then I would combine these two. And I'm very sensitive, which I think is a unique statement from someone who's like a powerhouse, but is also very sensitive. So I'm very sensitive to lights, sounds, caffeine, alcohol, all of it. Like my system feels it, which is why, side effects from medications can be very tricky for me. So when I go the natural route and I go really slow, that's one of my top tips with our mood probiotics, is to go really slow, because a lot of times you'll put that new good bacteria in your system and you'll have a little bit of a die-off or a Herx reaction, which basically means your body really desperately needs what you just gave it, but it doesn't even know what to do with it. So by going really slow, I can trick my sensitive system, and also we can allow ourselves to integrate more and more of that good bacteria that we need. So yeah, I was sprinkling out all the different types of probiotics, trying different things, and really feeling a difference and saying, okay, I'm taking this prebiotic, this specific type of prebiotic, which is fiber, that's been shown to help with mood and the body's stress response. I'm taking these different probiotics, like these should all be together, and I can't find them together. And that is when the entrepreneur's dream just like lights up, like, I can't find it, I'll make it.
So cool. So cool. And I love everything that you're saying. I totally agree with everything that you're saying. At the end of the day, money, everything, it's all energy. If we break things down, whatever it is, you can break down the acorn, and, at first you're going to find little things that resemble an acorn. And then, you're going to get down to just waves of energy. And that's what we are. And that's what the things are in this world. So we are all energetically connected, and just being in tune will allow you to see different opportunities in your life that you wouldn't otherwise. And those are your energy blocks. So I don't think that what you're saying, I don't know what our audience thinks, but I just want to affirm, just where you're at with things, because I truly believe that way too. And here's what else I wanted to ask you about. I know that our audience is wondering, and I'm wondering too, what types of pre and probiotics are best for the mood? I don't know if we've covered like specific strains or whatever, to just,
Yeah. So we can jump into that. I wouldn't say it's most important for me to list out the strains, the species that we use. They're on the back of the bottle. But what I feel like is a little bit more important is just the map of how we created the 4 probiotics that we have, because my theory is if one doesn't work for you, another one might. And also my other theory is one of them might not work for you as well as another one might. With 4 people in our home, we have 4 different probiotics, and each one of us takes a different combination of them. So the very first product I created was called Mood Boosting Probiotic. It has 9 feel-good strains of probiotic bacteria plus the prebiotic GOS. It has the most diverse amount of good bacteria. However, if you have a histamine sensitivity, then Mood Boosting Probiotic is probably not the best choice for you. There are a couple of strains of probiotics in it that could be histamine producing. There are a couple that are also histamine degrading in it. So if you have a very mild histamine sensitivity, Mood Boosting Probiotic is probably fine for you. But once again, it has probiotics and prebiotics. So then if you go over to the next product, Mood Super Strains, it has probiotics only. Now, why would we exclude prebiotics, which are fiber, which feeds the good bacteria, which is really helpful for our microbiome? Because it can be too much too fast for some people. If you're already experiencing distress in your digestion and you throw in probiotics and prebiotics, your system might just say, hey, I don't think so. So for some people, those prebiotics are best consumed by just eating prebiotic fibrous foods. So Mood Super Strains is a histamine-free formula that has no histamine-producing types of bacteria and no prebiotics. So now you have this 2 different ones, like, okay, I see what you're going. And then our third one is Bifidus Mood Boost, which is bifido-only bacteria, which is non-histamine producing, and it has that prebiotic GOS in it again. So that is the specific type of prebiotic we use in our formulas. Prebiotic GOS has been studied to show as a standalone product to help with mood and the body's stress response. And then our 4th and final probiotic is called Spl Mood Boost. It's a spore-based probiotic, which is really great. We found for people who have maybe had too many antibiotics and they're like, I'm so far gone, like, help me, please. And there's something about those spore-based probiotics. They're very resilient, and they're able to just really help repopulate the gut in a way that those traditional lactobacillus and bifidobacteria are not quite able to do. So that fourth and final one is a probiotic only as well. There's no prebiotics in it. And it is really potent for just really reestablishing the health of your gut.
Wow. Well, I identify with your story in so many ways, and I believe that there's probably many people listening that feel the same way. And that's why I already trust your product, and I already, just trust, who you are. So obviously you said it earlier, if I wanted to buy your product, Lifted Naturals, and check out the, 4 different products that you just mentioned, I could even go to walmart.com, or I could go to amazon.com. Are there other links and things that you could share? I mean, you're a very interesting woman. If people wanted to follow you or, connect with you, can you share some of how they would do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We show up on Facebook and Instagram, although those algorithms are always very tricky for us natural health people. We don't really know what's going on there. But every week we continue to show up. We on the Lifted Life podcast every Tuesday. And like I said, we share a bit about something we've gone through and bring reflection and insights and share behind the scenes a bit. So the podcast, Facebook, Instagram, we have an email list you can sign up for. If you do that, you can get 15% off your first order over on our website. A lot of people ask us kind of from a really sweet place of love, should we buy from your website? You get more money that way versus walmart.com or amazon.com. But we always say we really want our customers to buy from where they love to shop. And if you type in Lifted Mood Probiotics over on one of those platforms, yes, they take a cut, but it signals to them that we are a relevant brand and we are competing against these very large companies that are owned by other very large companies. And here we are, this very small company that's just doing our best to keep our products pure and really high quality and provide that high level of customer service. So if someone's like, I don't know which one to take, that's a very common question. Reach out to us, info@liftednaturals.com, and we have a little write-up that we can help you with and kind of guide you to perhaps the best product for you. And beyond that, we do know that sometimes you try one and it doesn't maybe feel like it works so well. Our top tip will always be to go a bit slower and see. And then sometimes you can just say, no, I don't think so. And then we're happy to send you a replacement if you are not happy with the one you buy.
Very cool. And good for you up there with those giants and, a little David and Goliath story right there, so very cool. Very cool. So they go to liftednaturals.com. If they have questions, go to info.liftednaturals.com. They can find you on Facebook. They can find you on Instagram. Any other final words for our audience?
I just feel like the really key thing that I've even been going over in my head is the idea to start Lifted was literally just an idea. And I just feel like we all need to remember that thoughts can become things if it matters enough to us. And I feel like that idea can't really be said too much. It's like, what is weighing on your heart or is just continually in your mind that you can't get away from? It's like the nudge that won't go away. There's a reason for that. I feel like that's like our highest self or our soulful self saying, let's go. You didn't just come here to just fit in and you came to make some waves, and the waves can happen from the nudges.
That's powerful. You have the power to manifest the things that are nudging at you in your life, from nowhere to now here, from just a thought to a thing. That's so awesome. Well, Sylvia, thank you so much for sharing your time today. We appreciate you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Overcomers Podcast, sponsored by Journey 333. When I am not hosting the Overcomers Podcast, I am working at one of our fitness franchises so that I can continue to help people overcome adversity on a daily basis. That's right, people come to the Journey 333 fitness franchises because they want a coach in their life. They want somebody to help them overcome the adversities of life, motivate them to higher levels of greatness, bring out their potential, help them lose weight, get off medications, fight depression, fight anxiety. That's what we do on a regular basis. If you feel like you want your life to be about helping more people to overcome their adversities, if you feel like you're an overcomer and you want to create more overcomers, then maybe owning a Journey 333 franchise would be for you. To find out more, go to www.journeyfitness333.com.